Alright guys, we're going to talk about two things in this video because I find that when we focus on one thing, the video is about 2 minutes long, and when we focus on 10 things, the video is about 20 minutes long. So, in an effort to cut that down to a reasonable 5-minute length, if possible, around 4 to 5 minutes is what I'm aiming for, we're going to talk about both the contains method, or rather selector, and the is method. So, first thing right off the bat, I noticed that I'm missing a bracket here, so I'm not even sure how this worked unless something happened with my keyboard after I ended the last recording. So I'm going to just fix that up there. So, well, actually, yeah, that must have happened because now we're getting that uncaused syntax error that there was a missing bracket. So at least JavaScript is nice enough to inform us when we screw up, which not a lot of people can take constructive criticism that well, so I hope that you guys can, because you're going to get some of it with JavaScript. Now, when we talk about the contains selector, we can select an element based on its content, and I believe that we went over attribute selecting. You can also select text. We'll go over that in this video as well, but first I want to go over contains. So as you can see, this paragraph element, do we just have one paragraph? One moment. I might have to stuff some more in there. Yeah. Alright, so let me jump over to my index.html file, and I'm going to put a few paragraphs up here, above the form. So paragraph, this is just some text. Underneath it, another paragraph that has some more of the regular stuff that we typically stuff into paragraphs. And then we've got our original paragraph. Now, the main difference between these three paragraphs is that they contain different text. So, if I wanted to select this paragraph that contains the word lorem, as opposed to selecting all of the p elements, we can use the contains selector. It looks somewhat like a pseudo state in CSS because we target it using the colon symbol in your keyboard. So, to successfully select that paragraph, we're going to open up the target here, as we always do, and from now on, instead of calling these jQuery objects, I'm just going to call them a target, because that's essentially what we do with them. So when you open your target, if you just place the letter P in there, it's going to select all of those paragraphs. Now, how you can filter through them and only select the one that contains certain text, put a colon in the word contains, and then brackets. Now this starts to look a little bit more confusing because we've got all these special symbols here. Now in here, you're going to use double quotes because the entire statement is wrapped by single quotes, and then if you used a single quote in here, it would mess with that. So basically, when you're using single quotes, if you want to use quotes within that, you use double quotes and vice versa. So we're going to select the paragraph that contains the word lorem. And we are going to, what should we do? We should replace it. Yeah. All right. So we're going to call the HTML method, and we're going to say this had lorem in it. Surprisingly, it still does. All right. So let's save that and refresh the page. Now, as you'll notice, none of these get changed because the contains selector it specified what paragraph we're looking for, and then it found it and it performed this on it. Now, it actually does still have lorem in it, so that target would still be valid. If we wanted to then target it again in the same way, it would still target this one. So that is the contains selector, and this is useful in a lot of ways. Now, the is method can tell you what an element is. It just tells you, what the tag name is. So we could target, let me jump over here to the console. Let's target my-selector, and let's type is image, and it is not image. So we can say P, and it is. So if All right, what we're going to do is we're just going to store, well, hold on. If, and this is going to return true, hopefully. So if paragraph which contains, actually, let's remove paragraph. Let's assume we don't know that it's a paragraph. We're just trying to find out what contains this specifically. So if the element that contains the word lorem dot is a p element, we're going to console log lorem is inside a paragraph. Save it, and we're going to refresh. As you can see, it says lorem is inside a paragraph. So how I can demonstrate this one step further is just let's ask if it's in a div. And you guys know how if statements work. It will not print that out because it is not true. It simply returns a Boolean operator. It returns or a Boolean. It returns true or false. So you can use that in if conditions. Now the same is true for hasClass. It will return true or false. So this is a method. I'm not sure if we talked about it. I think we did, but we may not have. So if we didn't, just really quickly, we can check if an element has a certain class. Save, refresh, and it will return true. Now, if I mess this class name up, it will not print anything because that if statement has then returned false, because the element that contains the word lorem does not have the class name of my select hefter. So that is the is method, has class, and the contains selector. Maybe we'll limit these videos to 3 items per video. I think that will probably work better. See you guys in the next video.